everybody, and welcome back to the Domestic Boyfriend Podcast. Today, it seems like I am your host, Vincent, and I am joined by my lovely, lovely friend, Dean, over here.
Hi. It was just gonna be Vincent. I wasn't gonna speak the entire time.
Oh, that would have been mean. All right. Today's main bit, we're going to talk about Moon Knight and cover up the last two episodes. But before we do that, we're going to jump into some news real quick. Um, to kick us off, Avatar 2. We The Way of Water. We finally have a trailer and a confirmed time for the movie. Blue people to specify. Every time I bring up Avatar 2, everyone's like, "Oh no, they're making a sequel to it?" Thinking that it's about The Last Airbender. It makes me so sad that that's their first thought.
Yeah, blue people, not blue arrows.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this trailer came to us via uh the Multiverse of Madness. It actually hasn't been officially released, I believe, like on YouTube or anything like that. So besides people uploading it themselves, the Way of Water trailer is only if you see Multiverse of Madness, which I have, and Vincent has not yet, but he will soon. Uh, and it's very beautiful. And I was talking about this with somebody a couple of days ago that like Avatar one like visual wise really holds up, and like this movie like it's just the same continuation of amazing like visuals.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, it's it's probably not the best thing to like only remember the visuals from a movie. Because I still don't really remember the plot of the first one. I
It's
just remember
Pocahontas.
I just
It's
remember
Pocahontas.
unobtainium. Yeah, oh yeah, it is Pocahontas. I just remember the
Yeah,
main plot device was unobtainium, which I thought
unobtainium
was
and
always very
Pocahontas.
funny. Um, but as far as the visuals go, uh, I I know a little bit about CGI, and I know that like running water is really hard to animate well, and like the running water that they do in Avatar still looks like it still looks super impressive. I didn't know it was CGI for the longest time.
Cool behind the scenes fact that was just released the other day. We actually the actors in their mocap suits were actually in a pool of water while filming like the on the back of the creature scenes in the water, but the water also had like balls, like little spheres inside of the like the pool that they were in, to simulate like waves.
Oh,
So like the
interesting.
motion, they used that to simulate the motion of the waves when doing the CGI, so they had more of like a form to go off of instead of like actual water, like an actual ocean current instead of like the still bed of water that they'd have in the pool. Really
Okay,
interesting. So there were
that's
just
pretty
balls
cool.
everywhere. Yeah, yeah, awesome. Love balls. So
Oh
cool.
man. Yeah, that's gonna hit theaters hopefully December 16th. With this
Yeah,
day
we
and
don't.
age, you never really know.
Yeah, it could be 2025. Who knows?
uh, Next bit of news, we got another trailer as well. We've had a lot of trailers lately. But Kenobi, we finally have a proper look at it.
You know, after like watching it, it made me think about like remember when they were like rumoring like the rumors about a Kenobi solo series were gonna happen like well or like the Kenobi project was like even before like it was right around this episode what was it what 7 it would be 7
Mm-hmm.
the Force Awakens like around there, even before the start of the new trilogy, like a Kenobi project was always in the works. It's just they couldn't get Ewan McGregor like on it, or like it was something that was stopping them from doing it. And like it's so surreal to see it happen because like it's it's awesome. It's such a he's like a fan favorite character, and we get to see like the in between. And somebody somebody brought up the fact that like he was just like how like in 2 years or something like that does it get from Ewan McGregor to old man? You know what I mean? Like what shit goes down that makes him age that fast?
Yeah. You know, he put out a tweet recently thanking our generation because like when the prequels came out, they had so much backlash. Nobody liked them except for us kids.
Yeah,
Um, and now that we are old enough to properly have a voice and like so much love is has been put out there for the actors as well as just the movies in general. It's really refreshing to him in particular. He went and rewatched all the movies to get ready for Kenobi, and he has like positive thoughts towards them for the first time in years.
yeah. I mean, if you really think about it, I mean, besides like the Clone Wars, because I mean, some episodes, in fact, like a lot of them, and especially towards the latter half of the original run of the Clone Wars TV show, like a lot of the story of the prequels is really the story of Kenobi, like the story of Kenobi watching Anakin's story. You know what I mean? Because like
Absolutely.
we see it all from episode one and his growth and the challenges that he has to take because he has to train the chosen one in his master's stead. And like I can only imagine, like this is probably like people have probably talked about this more in depth, like 2 hour anthologies about it, but like the way that Kenobi must feel, especially like when you think about the Clone Wars being years long. Like we see from episode 2 to episode 3, like we know time has passed, but we really don't get like a very good idea of it, like unless you read like novels or you see the Clone Wars and you really try to gain a grasp of how long it's been, that you see that he's it's been years. Like Anakin went from a kid to an adult. Like Kenobi literally his entire life has raised somebody, and to see the downfall of it and to see like where it can go from there, and only imagine what this series will show of him, not just like action wise and the cool stuff, but like emotional wise, because that is like him watching over Luke is like it's tear jerking to like the fans of like, oh man, he was there for such a long time, just watching him grow. But like the thought of him just sitting there and like blaming himself for what happened, you know what I mean? Like a Batman Jason Todd type of situation. Like
Yeah.
he he's the reason that it happened. He's the reason he turned out that way, type of thing. But I've talked a lot just about this.
Well, I'm excited for it. You're excited for it, and it's hitting Disney Plus on May 27th.
Yeah. Before we move on from it, I just want to bring up the fact that we see it and we see like Vader a little bit. Hayden Christensen's coming back. Woo woo. Uh, Actually, really excited for that. Uh, but I'm very much questioning like, does this just take place on one planet? Because we
It
only ever. I don't think Kenobi's leaving the planet. Like, do they just send in waves of people?
maybe
And
potentially.
if that is true, if they know where he is, right? Why doesn't Vader go there? Like why doesn't he go there sooner? You know what I mean?
He's got to leave the planet. He's got to like lead them astray or something.
Or you would assume that it doesn't take place on there. Like maybe it leads to there or something like that. I don't know.
Maybe
Speculation. We can talk about it when it comes out.
we'll find out
It's
soon.
it's episodic, right? So it's probably like 6 or 8 episodes or like
Yeah, it's a
what was
mini series, so probably 6.
yeah, it depends. Yeah. But yeah, super exciting. Awesome. Star Wars stuff is great. Vincent's been playing Lego Star Wars games, and yeah, it tickles his pickle.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's fun. All right. Next bit we got Doctor Who. We finally know who's going to take the mantle as the 14th Doctor. And for the first time in the show's history, we are going to have a black uh, lead actor take the role of the Doctor. Um, I apologize if I mess up the pronunciation. I believe it's correct. Shuti Gatwa is going to be the 14th Doctor. Um, some of his stuff that he's known for is his role in Sex Education, um, as well as The Last Letter from Your Lover. Um, I'm not too familiar with this actor, but I've always been a fan of Doctor Who. I got my start with the Matt Smith stuff and just fell in love with it from there. And I'm super excited to see where Shuti takes it.
Yeah, I am very big into Doctor Who. Not too much anymore. Not to blame a certain recent season or anything like that, but I have heard and watched a couple episodes of Jodie Whittaker's Doctor, and it's not on her. The writing team is definitely dropping the ball sometimes. And I also did drag watching Peter Capaldi. But I started watching at the beginning of the reboot. I really love the Ninth Doctor. Matt Smith and David Tennant are amazing. Um, and I watched the Doctor Who movie, actually. That was a fun watch. Without any context of anything that happened in the previous seasons was a little confusing,
The
but it
movie,
was,
like
yeah.
with the War Doctor, is that what you're talking
No, no,
about?
no, no, no. Before the War Doctor, so the Eighth Doctor's regeneration was during. So the Seventh Doctor's regeneration into the Eighth was during the Doctor Who.
Okay.
So so Doctor Who was brought back. It has like a long history on the BBC of being canceled and coming back.
Yeah.
Um, it was canceled, brought back as a movie, canceled again, brought back for the reboot, and we currently have, Doctor Who. Uh, and I've tried to watch some of the older episodes. I really enjoy like Doctors 3 through 5, which is very broad because the personalities are expansive. But
Hmm.
um, interesting thing, it might be a shock to you, not to us, because we may have needed to re-record this because I made a oopsie. But uh, we this is actually not the first time in African American. Oh, actually, I guess they're British, so they're not American.
Yeah.
Uh, First time a black actor has been the Doctor. Actually, it was shown during Jodie Whittaker's run that uh, it's a long story, but a former incarnation of the Doctor was actually a black woman, said to predate the first Doctor incarnation. Uh,
Oh.
yeah, so
So
it's
like between the
interesting.
War Doctor and the First Doctor,
No,
then?
between before episode 1 of Doctor, like before that Doctor, like the first incarnation of the Doctor we ever see, uh, said to be older than him, like before his time. It's very complicated,
Okay.
convoluted, and a retcon that people do not like. Um, but
Okay. Interesting.
yeah, interesting bit of lore. Um, the Doctor's regenerations don't really match up with the amount of Doctors that we have, but it's okay. I'm super excited about it. Hopefully, the showrunners know what they're going to be doing with him, and they don't waste his potential because I've heard a lot of great things about him.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, that's all I got.
All right. Uh, moving on from our uh, movie and TV news, we've got some video game stuff that has happened. we have a 15-minute demo trailer for
Oh
Gotham
no.
Knights.
Oh
Yep,
no.
yep, we're jumping into it. Speaking of jumping, whew, um, Gotham Knights, soon to be coming out. I believe its release date is sometime in September. It's later this year, maybe December. Um, but it's going to be a multiplayer uh Arkham
It's October. It's late October.
late October, okay. Batman Arkham-esque game. It's not from Rocksteady.
Even
It's
though the story is totally taken right after the end of the Arkham games.
ish. I don't even know if it's in the same universe.
I don't think it is, but
Um
it's literally
no, it can't be because Batgirl is walking.
okay. Well, that happens in the comics.
Oh, she does. Oh, never mind.
Yeah. So in the
Uh
comics, okay. Quick Batman lore spoilers ahead. Um, Barbara Gordon works with Lex Luthor to get a nanochip implanted into her spine to regain like mobility.
oh, that's nice of him.
Yeah, but it's cool. But I think, um, uh, I think it sounds really bad, but I think she should have just stayed
Oracle?
Oracle and stayed crippled
Hmm,
because
maybe.
I feel like she works really good as a legacy character, and we already had like two Batgirls, like both Cassies were Batgirls, and she worked really well being like the person in the chair, both physically and metaphorically. But anyway, go ahead.
Um yeah, so
It
sorry, I
looks
was yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead. I'm grabbing
it
some more information.
looks kind of questionable. So we got to see some gameplay. And before we get into what a lot of people probably are thinking about, we'll talk about like actual like fighting and everything. And after rewatching the trailer and everything and having some other people's valuations in my head, the AI looks terrible. The AI looks very
Yes.
questionable. Hopefully, we saw the first like gameplay like alpha footage and it showed it like when it first was announced and like the AI looked really bad then, but this is like near the final project. Like they ain't got a lot of time to fix anything before the final shoot or before the final release. Uh Very questionable. I also think the graphics look really bad. It looks like something that was on the PlayStation 3 that was supposed to be on the PlayStation 2, but they released it to new gen consoles.
So this is the same studio that gave us Arkham Origins, right?
Which Arkham
Um
Origins look good. They look really
Arkham
good.
Origins looked really good for a PS3 game.
Yeah, I think they
This
still
game, I believe, is in the same exact engine because this is the same studio that gave us that game.
like you'd assume that it'd look better because it's supposed to be on a new gen console, but it doesn't look good.
Speaking
And
of being on a new gen console, they also have announced that they have kicked away the last gen console versions of the game to try to make sure that the gaming experience is as good as possible.
which is something that I think that a lot of companies are going to do now. Like
Absolutely. We don't
how
want another
many
Cyberpunk.
how many versions of the Xbox were released within the last 5 years? Not
Uh,
including the newest one. Like when the Xbox One was
Xbox One,
released, it
Xbox
was
One
Xbox
X,
One
Xbox
X,
One
Xbox One
S.
S,
There were
and then
three.
there was both the physical disc versions of them and the digital versions, correct?
Well, the One X didn't have a digital version. The closest, actually, no. I guess the One S was the digital version, ish.
Okay.
Except
So
it wasn't as strong.
there were so many versions of the Xbox released that they were just like, you know what? We're not gonna have the same thing happen. We need people on new gen consoles, and plus, it's more expensive to make.
Yeah, that's true. And it's a lot more like honestly, like it gives me some hope that they kicked away getting those versions of the game running because that means that they could focus that time on making the AI and graphics looking a little bit better. Um,
I can only hope. But
I,
let's talk about what everybody wants to talk. Oh wait, I don't want to cut you off.
yeah, just one last thing. Like, uh, as far as the AI goes, the AI looked dumb. The start of the trailer, albeit it was like a tutorial and just showing off what the characters can do, it looked so slow. But by the end, like the combat looked fine. The combat looked fun and flashy. Um,
I just don't
for
think it looks
Nightwing,
this. I don't think it looks as snappy as the Arkham games because like the Arkham games were very like
yeah.
button reaction
To be fair,
snappy.
this is definitely a different game. This game is giving me like the Division 1 vibes, and
Mhm.
I'm not liking that, especially with like the armor points and the levels above people's heads and the health bars.
It's like playing an MMO or something.
Anyway, the thing that everyone's talking about, we have a certain jumpy boy uh who made his power debut. Red Hood has mystical powers where he's able to just jump in the air and make magical landing points and keep jumping.
Yeah, so everybody in this game has like a mechanic, a glide, like a traversal mechanic, and Nightwing. It was shown like Nightwing has like a glider that it looks so large. It's too
It's a
big.
Fortnite glider.
It literally just looks like a Fortnite glider. And like looking over it again, I was just like, why couldn't they just give him like a pseudo like wingsuit? You know what I mean? Because like he is like a trapeze artist, it wouldn't be too odd for him to have something like that or have something like that be
I would
consistent.
have liked it a lot more for him to like parkour around and like it like give him like a grappling hook or something and then like swing from like flag poles and stuff on the
Oh,
sides of buildings
so
and do
you
acrobatics up. That would have
so
been cool and in character.
people could have made more memes about not being able to
Yeah.
afford a PS5 and Batman or Spider-Man.
Um
But yeah, so Jason's like traversal mechanic is that he has like this Dante from Devil May Cry like double leap, like he can like double jump and like leap over bounds and like creates like invisible platforms, which does seem really odd, but I did watch somebody's like quick TikTok about how it's not too odd in character because he is for a short time for a short time like a couple people in the Bat family canonically like have had powers, mostly like Damien when he came back to life after dying. He was imbued with superpowers. Um, and Jason, after dying in one retcon or in one version, he did gain like a spiritual connection to a soul where he was able to get like soul powers for a short amount of time.
yeah.
And it was brought to my attention that Jason also held like this magical soul binding sword before, and he was able to use it with extreme proficiency because his soul is so strong. So he's definitely the more magically inclined Bat Boys, but it's still a very odd thing to give him.
Yeah. I don't remember the Batgirl gameplay. I don't know if they showed her. It was did she glide around? Is that her like thing?
Um, I remember seeing her in a fight. I don't remember her
I don't
traversing.
know if they ever showed her like gliding around. I hope at the very least that she's actually like gliding proper.
I had her
Um
traversal mechanic, but they decided to let her walk.
and then Robin, who I confirm now, it is Tim Drake. It is not Damien.
It is him. Okay,
Teleports.
he's a
He
Fortnite
just
character.
teleports.
You know, I the way that they made him seem in the trailer was very kitty, which like it isn't like not Damien, but like most people see him as like the really mean like kid because he's like, that's how he debuted as, but he's a lot more like lovable now.
Hmm.
But there's like many versions of Tim like in any of the like animated series or any of those depictions, I've always shown him as like the fun-loving young one.
I've
Um,
always enjoyed
before
Tim.
Captain Boomerang attacked,
Well, yeah.
uh, but it's kind of it's interesting. If you ever seen Batman Ninja, I think actually no, I think that's still Damien. Never mind. Um, but yeah, I don't. I have high hopes. Like I'm at this point in my life where I'm just like, I don't want things to be bad that I like things related to things that I like. I don't want them to be bad because it just
Yeah.
means I have to consume bad media. So I want this to be good. We were hyping this up when we saw it at E3 years ago, and we were talking about how we hope it's multiplayer and we'd be able to play this together because it looks awesome.
Yeah.
Like the thought of it, the idea of it seemed awesome. Seeing it in action is kind of like it might leave a bitter
Yeah.
taste in our mouths. But
Also, even though there are 4 playable characters, there can only be 2 active players at any given time.
yeah, it's like I don't
Why?
like. It's not like their engine's like gonna be overhauled by having more characters. Maybe switch the engine. You know, I just
Yeah.
that's really sad. That's like them. That's like making a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game and being like, you can only play as three.
Yeah. It, if anything, and it's not good for a game to make you want to play a different game, but this has just made me realize how much I truly miss playing Rocksteady games, and has me even more excited for Suicide Squad next year. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is going to be a fantastic video game.
I until you said something about it, I totally forgot that that was coming out. That is a four-person multiplayer game that looks really promising.
Yeah.
Original story looks more
That
promising
one
than Gotham
is in the
Knight.
same universe as the I believe in the same universe as the Arkham series Batman. At the very least, it has the I think it has the same Harley Quinn, and it has the same Arkham logos and stuff around. We've
Okay,
never seen any of the other superheroes in the Justice League throughout.
we're really like any of the characters that they've shown. Like we've seen Harley, but we haven't seen this Harley. Like we haven't
Yeah,
seen a Harley on the Suicide Squad. We've never seen a Captain Boomerang or what was it, Deadshot. Like these are all characters that more limelight because of like the movies. But
next year's gonna be great for for comic book video game lovers, because we're getting Suicide Squad, we're getting Spider-Man 2, we're getting Wolverine.
yeah, we can only hope so much. They also have the. Did you see that the Midnight Suns game is going to be a turn-based card game?
It's gonna be a turn-based card game. I thought that was gonna be an XCOM like.
Uh, is it? Okay, I think it is an XCOM. Like, I think somebody said turn-based, and
Yeah.
somebody else said card game. No, it's supposed. Yeah, it's like an XCOM like, which people were thinking that it was just going to be like an Ultimate Alliance type game, but eh, sad. But
And at least for me, the last bit of news that I think we have to talk about is another trailer. We have a trailer for the open beta of Warner Brothers Multiverses.
it's actually
Um,
the cool beta.
they announced the open beta at the end of it, coming in July.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
okay. So we'll talk about the trailer, and then we'll talk about our connection, quote
yeah.
unquote,
We
to
we
this game.
can't we can talk about when the closed beta is happening, because
Yeah,
it is public information.
yeah, we can talk about that. But the trailer, amazing. If you don't know what this is the WB Warner Brothers attempt at a Smash Brothers like platform fighter, where a bunch of Warner Brothers property characters, including people like Anya Stark, Jake the dog, Shaggy, and Tom and Jerry, fight characters like Superman, Wonder Woman,
Harley
and
Quinn, Batman.
Harley
Oh, those are all
Quinn.
just DC characters.
Yeah, and Garnet from Steven Universe, and
And Ryan Dog, the original character.
Ryan Dog, the original
Jake
character.
from it, and Finn from Adventure Time.
Yeah, and a bunch of other people that are going to be in the cast. And they announced in this trailer that we're going to get Taz, the Tasmanian Devil, and the Iron Giant.
I'm so happy Warner Brothers hasn't forgotten about the Iron Giant. the Iron I mean I'm sure you have similar feelings about that movie. I that was always one of my favorites as a kid and persists to this day. I watch that movie once a year at least. And it makes me cry every single time I see it.
I used to think that the Iron Giant was like an American made. It was like an American dub for an anime because early in the mornings, early in the mornings, Toonami would play Gigantor, which was also a giant robot anime.
Oh my god, Oh my god.
So I used to wake up sometimes in the middle of the morning and the Gigantor opening was just playing, and I used to just think it was the Iron Giant, and I used to try and tell kids about it, and they wouldn't. They were just like, "Don't you mean the Iron Giant?" I'm like, no, it's Gigantor.
Oh, I haven't thought about Gigantor in years.
Yeah. So, cool little callback to the end of the movie. You know, what does he say when at the end of what are the last words of the Iron Giant?
Launch the new Superman.
And he is paired up with Superman at the end, the Man of Steel and the Steel. Super exciting, super cool. I guess we'll talk about. So the open beta is going to be in July. But like I said, we're going to talk about our connections to this game. I was actually invited to the closed alpha. You could have signed up for the closed alpha months ago. It was towards the beginning of the year, I believe. And the closed alpha was super fun. We can't talk too much about it because we might be contractually obligated not to talk about it. But
yeah,
it was super fun. And we were invited back for the closed beta, which is going to be May 19th, 2 days from now that we're recording. And yeah, I am currently out of a gaming computer, but I will try to participate as much as I can because this game was actually incredibly fun to play.
I will play every single day that it is up.
Yeah, so I got an invite, and if you were in the closed alpha, I'm not sure about how it's going to be in the beta, you can invite your friends. And cool thing is that not just I was invited, but the 3 friends that I invited were also invited.
Yeah.
So
if you were part of the alpha, you will be a part of the beta. You get a free code.
Yeah. So cool thing. If you already had it downloaded, it's cached on your computer. You can just the pop-up will just come back on the Steam store.
Yeah.
So cool enough. Me and Vincent are gonna be duking it out with our 2 friends on the Discord server.
Yeah.
Super exciting. It's so weird. I saw this meme and it was just like, I never thought, like, it was a picture of Shaggy and Hugh Neutron. It was just like, these are fighting game characters. Oh, can you believe it?
That's yeah. It's so weird that it's really taken this long for us to get good alternatives to Smash for like different IPs. Because sure, we had like PlayStation All Stars and stuff, but that was always like kind of clunky. But now we have Nickelodeon. What? It's Nickelodeon All Star Brawl, right? Which is okay. I was excited for it, and then I found out the unfortunate news that there wasn't any actual voice acting in the game. And that put me off of buying the game in its entirety. The characters just felt so lifeless without it. I didn't like that Nigel didn't say smashing. He just made animal noises.
And Multiverse is fully voiced, has voice lines. They even have, it's amazing. And because it's owned by the WB, they just bring back people who originally voiced all these characters. And for the DC cast, they got Kevin Conroy to voice Batman, and it's amazing.
Yeah, man. It's
super awesome. Of course, Tara Strong's back for Harley Quinn, and everybody's back for the
everything feels like how they really, really did a good job designing everything, and making it feel good to play with a friend. I was kind of weirded out by the fact that they said that they were focusing really hard on making it a fun team experience, because Smash has always been like a 1v1 thing in my mind. But like, and I'm sure at some point I think they've said that they're going to have a 1v1 mode at some point.
No, there is.
There
Okay,
is.
there. I don't kill me, WB, but uh, there are multiple modes of playing.
Okay.
Uh, Free for all, 1v1. There are multiple modes. WB, if you hear this, don't kill me. Don't take it away. I want to play this game. I love you guys. You can sponsor us for free. You don't have to pay us. We'll
The
talk about
game's
this
going to
later.
be completely free to play. Um,
Yeah, that's another thing. It's a completely free to play game. I
and
think it's
full
on all
crossplay.
platform. Yeah,
Full
it's on
crossplay.
all platforms except Switch. Might be on Switch.
Yeah, I don't think the Switch was able to be a part of
You
it,
know what?
which,
Let's,
that's
you know what?
fine.
We're not defined by laws. We can just look this stuff up.
I don't want
PlayStation,
Switch netcode.
PlayStation, Xbox, Microsoft Store, Steam. So, uh, yeah. No, super exciting. It's very weird that like I'm super excited about something like this. So you can still sign up for the closed alpha while you can. I definitely advise if you have not been re-invited from the beta that you do. It's a really fun game. I got invited like the last week of the closed beta, and I invited my friends and with the game. Really refreshing.
Bettering.
But
Yeah,
I think that's all of our news.
I think so. Now on to the main event. Uh, we have we got to watch episodes 5 and 6 of Moon Knight. Uh,
Yeah, I
what a way
think
to end it.
it was crazy. I don't think we have to do really uh play-by-plays of how these episodes were. I think we'll just go over like a main overview of things that we thought were cool, the main takeaway from the episode, because uh, if you're watching us to just get a summary, thank you. Like and subscribe. Come back for more. Uh, but watch the show. They did a really good job with this.
Please
I thought it
watch
was
this one.
amazing.
If you don't watch any other uh Marvel show on Disney Plus, this is the one to watch, and you don't even need to watch any of the other Marvel things to like get a full grasp of what's going on.
Yeah, it's very self-contained. It's very
It's
self-contained,
so
which
refreshing to have that
all the
happen.
other ones have not been self-contained. Um, yeah, episode 5 was more or less just uh, Steven finding out about Mark's grief and the emotional damage that Mark received at a young age. For those who don't know, DIDs develops in people uh, between like the ages of like 4 and 7. I could be wrong about that. It could be later. It could be earlier. But it's emotional damage, and personalities are created to cope. Because like their psyche. Uh, Forgive me if I'm misinterpreting what I've heard before, but like they break apart
Yeah.
mentally. And different parts of them manifest. They are the same. They are one person, but their personalities manifest as different personifications, I guess I'd say. And Steven was created because he really liked this movie that him and his brother watched about a adventure called Stephen Grant. And the episode shows us all of the dark stuff within his mind, the murders that he committed while he was a mercenary, the bodies that he remembers, um, and his brother, because he accidentally got his brother killed.
Yeah.
Uh, and the episode was about Steven figuring that out, because Steven was created in Mark's mind as like the safe haven. Whenever bad things started to happen, Steven would take over, and uh, he got to live the good life, as Mark said it. Uh, and it was very, very touching. I guess I don't know if that's the correct word, but
No, I'd say it was touching because by the end of it, we got to see them properly realize that they properly care for each other and realize that they sort of need each other.
yeah, because they're not two beings in one body. They're the same person. They're two sides to the same coin, um, or possibly two sides to the same D3. But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Ooh.
and it's 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 an amazing episode. Uh, ends off kind of kind of saddening, but after you watch episode 6, you know how some of the stuff happens. But in this episode, kind of derailing the whole overall summary, we get to meet a really cool character, Tuerit. Can you describe Tuerit for me, Vincent?
She is the happy hippo of ancient Egyptian mythology, who is the goddess of marriage and childbirth, I believe.
Fertility,
Fertility
childbirth,
and childbirth, yeah.
birth, rebirth.
She is so adorable. She's such a delight every single second that she is on screen. So bubbly and funny, um, and also sort of shows like how little mortal problems really matter to gods. Because like she was just really nonchalant about the fact when she told Stephen and Mark that they were absolutely dead. She's just like, oh yeah, well, this is gonna be a shocker.
You guys are about to pass to the afterlife. Um, and yeah, she has some great moments where she's like possessing dead bodies and uh,
Oh my god.
awkwardly.
The guy who plays the dead body that Tor possesses, deserves an Oscar for his performance. He did that. He handled the line delivery perfectly.
Yeah, it's pretty great. She's a great character. Let's see more of her in the next episode. Uh, but yeah, so this entire episode's mostly taken in Stephen's psyche, which from the past couple episodes we see that, or from last episode we saw that uh, we didn't know how it was, if it was like he was actually like hallucinating. This entire series was actually just his mind, like the hallucination, and he's actually a mental institute resident. Uh, but we actually see that that's how his like psyche is constructed. Like he, whether it's a metaphor from the writers or that's actually how Mark sees it, it's very comic accurate. Uh, very awesome that they are taking like not panel for panel, but like the aesthetic and the way that they're taking the story was very accurate to the run that they're taking this from or inspired from. Um, and yeah, I guess the end of the episode ends off with so the entirety of this all is the fact that what are they? They're on a boat. They're on a motherfucking boat, and they're traveling the
They
sands of
Yeah, they were traveling in the Duat,
the
the
Dua.
Egyptian afterlife, underworld, on the way to the field of reeds, which
Yeah,
is
and
where
the
you
feel
go if your heart is balanced and you were a good person during your life.
yeah. So to wear it, very like surprisingly just rips out their hearts, and puts them on a scale and is balancing them against the feather throughout the entire time. Uh, that Stephen has like his revelations of like Mark's life and like what they actually experienced as a person together and like what Mark is hiding from him. That they have to figure out each other and accept each other for their hearts to be balanced. But the Duat, it takes too long. The Duat judges them and says that they're imbalanced, so it's going to take them away. Uh, they fight like the souls or the bodies of like people Mark had killed. Uh, Stephen has a really great moment where Mark is fighting them, and then Stephen's just like, if I'm you, he's just like, Mark, you can do it. And then he's just, well, if I'm you, then I can do it too. And then he pushes off one of the goons trying to push Mark into the duat, and sacrifices himself and becomes one with the sand as he turns into like this stony sand uh, like sculpture. And that's the end of the episode. I don't know if you have any more to say on this,
No?
but
On to episode 6.
on episode 6, so the end of episode 5 takes shows us the death of Stephen, but it actually shows us that Mark's hearts are balanced, and that he enters the field of reeds without a problem, and to where it tells him that, this is it, this is your peace. And Mark remarks about how peaceful it is, how quiet it is, how he hasn't felt like something like this before, and that it's amazing. But he also remarks about how Stephen would think that it's a beautiful sight, and it is also amazing. So he turns his back on a peaceful afterlife and goes to find himself, his other personality, and he leaves he leaves the field of reeds, and as soon as he kind of accepts the fact that he's going to leave the field, it just turns into the duat. Um, every time I say duat, I want to like be like doo-wop, 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 doo-wop. Um, but he finds Steven's body, like a statue, and he like accepts him. He says some kind words to him. He makes a whole speech about how uh, honestly, I kind of forget it. He says some, uh, "You are me. Like we're a team. We're together. Like I'm sorry for leaving you out of it, and like keeping the truth from you." Some things along those lines. And he is also turning to sand himself. He is dying. But after saying those words, uh, their hearts kind of meld together, and they become whole, and the gates of Osiris open, and they are allowed to come back alive. Yeah. Um, I don't know if you want to.
Yeah. While
Uh, yeah.
while that was going on, um, up in the world of the living, Haro was busy releasing Amit. He stormed the god's chamber in the Great Pyramids of Giza,
Murdered all of them.
murdered every single avatar that was present for um, the Egyptian
The
gods,
Inuit.
for the Ennead. Yeah. But while that was going on, Layla was on a mission to try to rescue and release Khonshu. We have a fun first interaction ever between Layla and Khonshu. Um, and Layla, being being who she is, was not having any of Khonshu's shit and told him just to uh, help her beat Amit, but not with her being his slave. And he just grumbles off and decides to go fight Amit by himself.
Yeah, he's just like, Layla. He's just like, will you protect the travelers of the night? She's just like, fuck off. She's just like, bring Mark back.
You look good in my suit.
My suit's pretty cool.
Um,
It even comes in formal wear, apparently.
yeah. Mark comes back to life. Khonshu disappears mid-fight with Amit, to go speak with his now living boyfriend. Or I guess
And
boyfriends.
and I think the pyramid starts to doesn't it start to fall in on itself?
Amit smacks and breaks the interior of the pyramid, and it starts caving in on itself. And while that's going on, Layla Layla decides to talk to Taweret and realizes that she needs at least one god's help. So she strikes a deal with Taweret to become her temporary avatar. Taweret having my favorite like comedic moment in the series where Layla's just like trying to sneak around and not let Harrow know that she's there. And she's like, Taweret, are you there? And the dead body of Horace's avatar comes back to life, and Taweret just screams, Layla! It very much alerts everyone of their presence. Um, God, I love Taweret. She's so funny.
He's a great character. A great late addition, but happy addition.
Absolutely.
And I guess we can summarize the rest of the pretty simply. Harrow now has Amit in full power. Takes her to Cairo. Harrow's goons that have the tattoos are judging people, which is not cash money in 2022. It's not even 2022 in that time. It's like 2030. 24 or something like that. Was it 5 years? That was like 20.
I think it was 5 years.
Yeah, it's like 2027. Not very cash money or not very crypto coolly. I don't know. But Mark's revived, and Steven's there, and they're just like, we're a package deal now. You have to listen to us. You can't just strike a deal with one of us. It's both of us now. And per Layla's request before, when he was released, she wants him to bring Mark back, but he doesn't want Mark. She doesn't want Mark tied to him, and Mark has the same idea that we'll help you defeat Amit, but we want out of it at the end. So, Khonshu reluctantly agrees because now both of the personalities are in agreement with each other. They're working together as a proper system, and. Mark's just like, how am I supposed to get from Cairo from the Pyramid of Giza? And fucking Moon Knight in all of his spectacular is just like, you forget, I am the god of the night sky. And then fucking Mark just goes like Mach 1, like with his glider towards Cairo. And then from there we see Amit's people, or Haro's people, using the power of Amit, are judging souls, and any souls that are judged to be evil the souls get consumed by Amit, and a total random thing that happens, no one probably predicted this, is that Amit grew big, right? She started growing big, like the size of a pyramid, right? Remember this. Moon Knight, Mark Spector, Stephen Grant, end up flying in like nobody's business, gliding in super fast, super fly, and start fighting Harrow. Meanwhile, the giant Amit, who is a crocodile lady, is fighting giant Khonshu.
We get an all-out god fight, baby!
There's a kaiju fight in my Marvel show. I couldn't have asked for more. If only Tony Stark was still alive and they brought in a giant robot. That's all I could have asked. God.
Yo, Mecha Khonshu.
The first kaiju fight in the MCU, and it doesn't involve Fing Fing or Kid Kaiju.
Yeah.
Or even a celestial or galactic. No big things, just things that are usually small becoming big. But anyway, we can summarize the entirety of this fight to Layla comes in. Mark, very touching, seeing his wife. It's just like, oh my god, come here. And then Steven takes over and he's like, oh my god, I love your suit. It's so amazing.
Layla's suit paying homage to an old Marvel villain by the name of the Scarlet Scarab.
Yeah, I think the
Her
Scarlet
suit
Scarab
looks
was
so
supposed.
cool.
I think it's supposed to be like her dad's character is supposed to be like an homage to him, and she takes up the title, or she's
Yeah,
taking the title, or something like
yeah.
that. But she is no Scarlet nor Scarab. She's the Gold Falcon. She is
Ooh.
Gold Hawk. She is she honestly. I hate to say like characters are copies of other characters, but like the Falcon, she has the Falcon. Uh, but she does it better because she's cool. Uh, but yeah, so this a quick rundown of the fight. They're fighting. Uh, they're fighting. Uh, Mark and Steven are very much in sync. There's a cool scene where Steven throws like a billy club that he uses because he's very confident in fighting now. So he like takes over. Uh, he takes a billy club, he throws it, uh, and it like goes like to a different shot of it coming back to him, and Mark catches it, and it's pretty awesome visually. This episode did an amazing fight choreography and everything. Um, Stop me if you want to say anything else, but uh, towards the end of the fight, actually, I want to bring this up. Uh, Layla is like fighting bad guys, and then she beats a bad guy down, and she does this in front of a crowd, and a little girl says, "Are you a superhero?" And Layla says, "Yes, I am." Amazing representation, literally the direct view and direct representation of like people are like what they want kids to see. Like this is an Egyptian superhero. This is a little Egyptian girl seeing someone she can look up to, some type of role model slash like figure that a lot of people don't get because of their ethnicity or religion. They don't have much representation in media or like superheroes and stuff like that. It's very, very touching to see. Um, but at the end of this fight, uh, you think that a 2v1 would be good, right? But you see Mark uh, beat up Haro, but we also see that Amit uh, is beating up Khonshu. And uh, now the original plan is that they need, because uh, Amit's Shopti has been broken, they need to seal Amit inside of a mortal body to deal with her. So whether you kill or capture the mortal body that is now imbued with Amit, uh, whatever it is, they need to seal her. So uh, Haro actually turns the tables and looks like he's about to kill Mark. And then something special happens. I don't know if you want to take the rest of this.
Yeah. Mark blacks out, but Steven isn't taking control. And he wakes up, and it's like a giant shockwave happens. The next shot that we see after he blacks out, uh, Haro's cane axe is almost going through his skull. Um, all of Haro's minions are down and dead on the ground. Things are randomly on fire. There's neon signs that are broken. Layla's like, "What was that?" And both Mark and Steven were like, "I don't know."
He's like, "Was it you? Was it you?"
Yeah. Um Honestly, pretty spooky, but not the first time we've seen this. Because earlier, what, it was episode, I believe,
This is episode
3.
three.
Yeah, episode 3, a similar thing happened with a couple people that Mark was trying to interrogate for information. Um and well, they move on. They see Khonshu getting dragged off by Amit. So they take Haro's unconscious body to um, the the rubble remains of what was the Ennead's room inside of the Great Pyramid, and they start reciting the song to be able to seal Amit inside of Haro's body. They succeed. She gets put in there, and Khonshu, being Khonshu, warps in next to Mark, and he's like, snap his neck!
Kill him!
Kill him! While we have the chance! And Mark goes to do it, and then he says, you know what? No, I've done enough killing for you. If you want to kill him, do it yourself. Release me. Sure enough,
he's a man of his word.
He's a man of his word. And Mark wakes up inside of his apartment, lying on the bed.
Actually, before that happens, he
Oh.
actually wakes up in the mental facility talking
Oh,
to Dr.
yeah.
Caro. And from there, they have a conversation, and he asks him if the gods are real. Stephen takes over and says, "I don't believe that." Says, "This, I think this is over." And then Stephen wakes up in his apartment.
Every day I wake up.
And Mark is also there. They are together. There are two fish. And that is...
Their ankle is still attached to the pole.
Yeah, for some reason their anchor is still attached to the pole. But they are free of the god. Don't know where Layla is, but that is the end. That is the end of episode 6 of Moon Knight.
They kind of just left Layla again.
Yeah. At the end, Steven's also to blame, because he was just like, "Why would you do that to your wife?" But yeah, that's the end of that episode. Before we get into anything else, I have to say, overall, without the rest that happens, the episode, how this ended off, I still think that it was a good conclusion. I definitely think as a whole, it's very awesome. It's very cool. I really loved Moon Knight. But we need to go to the mid-credit scene that happens. So
It is
if you wanna
a
walk us
Marvel
through the
product
mid-credit
after all.
scene? And we don't get Captain America telling us that sometimes you wait for stuff and it doesn't pan out.
Yeah, the credits fade away. We see Cap walks up and he's like, "So, you ended up in a mental facility." Actually no. We cut back to seeing a cup of coffee in front of a seemingly mentally disturbed Haro, who's in a mental hospital. His cup to him is full of sand. And he's hallucinating. He smacks it over and coffee spills out of it because that's what's properly inside of there. And a nurse comes over to try to take him back to his room. But the nurse gets brushed off by a random guy who's speaking, I believe, Spanish.
Yeah,
He's like, no. You go. I got this. And she gets flustered and walks off, which, she should probably lose her medical license.
she should probably lose her job, random stranger.
Never let her handle anyone again. And this random guy just wheels Haro right out to the front door, and throws him in the back of a white limousine. Inside, waiting for him, is our buddy Khonshu, dressed in his fancy suit, really showing off how big his head really is. Man, that bird skull is large.
Yeah. He was usually in, robe stuff. Seeing him in a two-piece suit, it's just like, oh.
Yeah.
Big.
But he starts talking to him. Haro seemingly comes to grips with what's going on and is like, "Oh, Khonshu, the fuck are you doing here?" And Khonshu lets us know about his quote-unquote next avatar. I believe he says, "It's funny that Mark thought that I wanted Layla. Why would I want anyone different? Mark is perfect as is. Let me introduce you to a friend of mine." and the driver's side window rolls down, and we get to see our friend, who we've known has been there all along, Jake Lockley.
He's a he's like speaking Spanish. He's just like adios, and then just shoots him with a silenced pistol, and Haro dies.
And Haro's like, no!
Yeah. And then they drive away in
In the Spectre mobile.
Awesome throwback to the comics.
So good.
It's really funny, and Khonshu says in the back seat, like, Mark Spector really doesn't know the full totality of how he is, and that speaks because he doesn't even know about Jake. So now after that, this show, if you had to rate it out of 1 to 10, what would you give it?
After coming off the hype train of like immediately watching it and then talking about it, I would have given it a 10. Now thinking about it proper, 9.5. It's hard to give things a perfect score.
Yeah, I definitely give this series like an 8.5. I don't think that things are bad the way that the adaptations are or anything like that. I just feel like I have a weird gripe about pacing now with MCU properties, like the shows. Is that, like, some things are very suspenseful, but when it came to Moon Knight, and I kind of felt this way with Loki, that like I kind of just wanted to see everything happen. You know what I mean? Like, it's good to have suspense, especially like between like what's happening in the greater world. But like when it came to Moon Knight, I was just like, I want to see exactly what, like, we know exactly what's kind of happening, and just kind of see it now. But all in all, I thought this was really great. Uh, Jake Lockley is a Spanish-speaking taxi limo driver, which, if you don't know, like, Steven and Jake's personalities are very different. They're not too different comics, but Stephen Grant is usually the philanthropist, like the rich guy that Mark Spector, his personality and he has so much money and can even night, is because Stephen Grant is like a millionaire or something like that, and he also helps Moon Knight figure out the big top criminal leads at the big parties, and Jake Lockley is usually the street level enforcer, who's a taxi driver in New York that gets him off the street. But he seems to be not a native. He seems to be a native Spanish speaker instead.
Yeah.
And Steven's also British, which is interesting. But yeah, really great show. Next thing that we cover, Marvel-wise, will be Multiverse of Madness. And after that, we have a couple things, things that we're going to be thinking about of doing episodes on. And yeah, do you have any other last words?
Yeah, just to like re-emphasize it, because I know that we talked about it like we said it once at the start. If you were to pick an MCU series, just one of the Disney Plus series to watch, I'd say this one is probably the best one to do it out of all of the ones that have come out. Albeit I haven't watched WandaVision, and I haven't watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But like this one, and Hawkeye was great. Don't get me wrong, but like as far as like ease of entry goes, and it being quick and to the point, and it really didn't drag. There were times when it was a little slow, but it was very few and far between. This is like a perfect a perfect gateway to get a friend into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely don't think like it was a super slow show. I just felt like it could have just been if this was a 2 hour movie, I feel like it's the same amount of pacing and storytelling.
Yes.
It just like watching it week by week, it was very suspenseful. But I guess that's always how it is, like watching a series week by week, binging it. But yeah, no, I definitely say this is the only standalone one where you don't need any previous MCU to really understand what's going on. And that being said, ooh, sorry. That being said, I definitely think it is. Uh, I don't know. I'd have to, but I definitely put this up there. Probably the top two. Uh, I don't. I'd say actually no. I'd probably say this is the best one after looking back at it because you do have to consume a lot of media to understand all the other shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what for the all of the other ones that have come out so far, you have to watch the
All the
entirety?
movie. Yeah, you pretty much have to watch. Yeah, because like WandaVision, like you have to know about everything that happened to Endgame for Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Same
Like,
thing.
yeah, just about Loki, same thing. Hawkeye, same thing.
Yeah.
Like it's a little too interconnected. Like the thing that the MCU does is something that like comics are bad at, and it's interconnecting the world even outside team ups because like they do it more now, and I feel like it's because they have like movies to look at, but like characters being like everybody's in New York in the Marvel comics, like almost everybody's in New York, has a way to be in New York in like 5 seconds, but yet Spider-Man still gets his ass beat by like street level characters and takes like 50 issue arc to get over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're interconnected when they need to be, but I feel like the MCU is very interconnected even if you don't want them to be. Like the story beats are always there. Like comics only have things interconnect when they want them to be in the story. Like Spider-Man can ignore the tragedies happening over on the West Coast because he's not over there. But something in the if that were to happen in the MCU, like it would be like a point of contention. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So yeah, um, this is definitely the most solo thing that I've gotten in the MCU. I want to say because like Guardians. Oh, okay. Besides the first Guardian, and I guess the second Guardian too. Besides the Guardians movies, which now that's gonna break when Guardians 3 comes out because like they're interconnected due to Infinity War.
Hmm.
But besides like even if you want to say like the Power Stone and like including the Infinity Stones is a big tie into the rest of it, like these three properties are like the most disconnected. I was gonna say Ant, but there's literally direct references to Shield, Tony Stark, and Howard Stark, Peggy
Yeah.
Carter, and they literally have a scene of being on the Avengers comp Falcon. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's definitely a great show. I definitely think it's full. I was telling my brother the other day, like it's for like you're either a really big Moon Knight fan or you're like an MCU watcher to watch this. Like it's not like I definitely think it's a good entry point for somebody doesn't have MCU experience, but it's definitely like if you're watching the MCU like nonchalant, like it's definitely something you'd look at and you'd be like, huh, maybe later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, 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 yeah. Right, Moon Knight, awesome.
All right. Well, thanks for stopping by and joining us. This has been the Domestic Boyfriend Podcast. Uh, if you want to follow us on our social medias, I'm over at Vincent Barlow 8 on Twitter.
I am lying underscore mask, and if to us on the social cast, we are at on Twitter. We are domestic BF. If you tweet at us, like, comment, and subscribe. Um, Not sure when we're gonna be getting the next episode out. Busy lives right now. But we will be getting it out sooner than later. Um, Credits to Ultimate Maverick X. He does banner, he does picture. Probably gonna be doing more for us in the future. Um, Links in the description or anything. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah. See you, beautiful people.